How the hell you doing, YouTube? Today we're back with a brand new video. So today's video we're going to do some dotting and dabbing. So as you see, we've a brick wall here. Basically what we've done, we stripped all the sand and all the sand cement that was an old lame plaster on these walls. They were coming off, so what we've done, the customer wanted us to strip it back to the brick and dot and dab some plasterboard onto the wall, and then obviously we're re-skimming this room. So what we've done is we stripped it all back, took all the excess crap off the wall, brushed it down so that there was no dust at all on the wall, and then we used a mixture of PVA and water. So we diluted that 3 to 1, 3 water to 1 PVA, and we painted the whole wall with that. It just helps any of the dot and dab compound to stick to the old bricks. As you see here, I'm just getting a tape measure. I'm measuring the width of the board and marking it on the brick. That's just so when I'm applying my dot and dab compound, I know how far to go. It just stops me from getting dot and dab between any joints. So if you get it in the joints, a lot of the times when you're tapping the boards on, it'll be all squidging out from in between, and it's not pleasant having to try to clean it all off and stuff like that. As you see, I found a few extra wee bits and pieces of sand cement, and I'm just trying to break it off. So once I've done this, then I'm going to apply my dot and dab compound. Everybody has their own way of doing this, but I think there are some building regulations. I think I'm 90% sure that it has to be a solid bead around, so along the bottom, and up either side of the board, and then across the top of the board, and that's just to stop, I think, fire spreading. I think that is the reason for it. So as you see, I'm just going to start putting it on. I get myself a lane of dot and dab down the sides. I'll go right till the bottom, dotting and dabbing the whole way. This stuff, you sort of want to mix it up pretty tight, just to save it from slipping and sliding all over the place. And as you see, I've made a solid line around, and then a few dabs. I do usually 8 dabs in the middle, and as you see, the size of this wall is actually slightly taller than our board, so I haven't put a solid bead across the top. I'm going to do that once we're putting the last week cutting the board on. As you see, we've set in a couple of bits of plasterboard on the bottom of the wall there, and that's just to keep the board up off the ground. It's especially, you especially need to do it, you should do it anyway, just it's good practice, but you especially want to do it in buildings like this where we have a solid concrete floor here. And what will happen if you don't, if there's any moisture in that concrete slab, your plasterboard will just suck the moisture up, and you're going to be in for a very bad day, because basically that whole thing will become damp, and you'll end up with damp on the walls, damp everywhere, and it's not going to be good, because you're going to have to come back and fix it. So when we're actually trying to get the boards straight on the wall, we set them on first of all, and then as you see here, I get a level, and that's a rubber hammer that I'm using. A lot of people just use a block of wood and slap the board with the block of wood, and it's usually enough to do it, but I just prefer to do it with a rubber hammer. I find it easier than trying to you do hurt your hand when you're trying to slam the bit of wood. you know, to get it, make sure that it's straight. It does hurt your hand sometimes. So I'm just going to check up and down, as you can see here, and checking, making sure that it's level both ways, so long ways, across and up. And it's very important that you get this first board right, because if you were doing a big round of a wall, you know, like a big massive wall where you're putting 4 or 5 boards, if this one's not sitting straight, all the rest will be just slightly out the whole way across. As you see again there, I'm just measuring to see where my board's going to go, and then we'll run out here and get a bit of plasterboard from the van. Yeah, there's none of these walls that are straight in this house. It's an old pre-war house, and just absolutely everything is completely out of shape, including the ceiling. Like the ceiling that we put on, I think you've seen a video of us stripping the ceiling, and we reboarded it, and we're going to reskim, and when we skim it, we're going to have to bond it because it is so badly out of shape. Yeah, so we're just going to put a bead again the whole way around, and then a few dabs in the middle just to make sure we're holding the board correctly. Also, the floor in this property, it was all sorts of shapes. It was like a quarter of a bubble out of level. Whoever laid the concrete floor or the screed floor, whatever it is, it wasn't done right. So you'll see when we put our next bit of plasterboard on here, it's going to be a different level. It's just, you see, we've put only one. The board beside it has 2 bits of plasterboard, and this board we only put one under it, and it's still, as you see here when we put it up, it's still high. Always have help lifting these plasterboard. They're sort of heavy. You're always better having 2 people if possible. Now, obviously you can't do it with one, but you're better if you can get 2 people to do it. Just do it. Like you can see here, so we've only one single bit of plasterboard underneath, and you can see the floor is massively out of line, out of level. Sorry. And then we're just going to do the same thing. The important thing to do this time is to go between the 2 boards. So we'll make sure that it's level up and down, but then we'll turn a level long ways, and we'll make sure that it matches up with the board beside it. So you want a level running straight through the 2 boards. Yeah, we do a lot of this dotting and dabbing. It's not work that I enjoy doing. It's just, if everything was brand new built and it was square and flush, and you know, it's easy, you slap the boards on and that's it, you move on. But there's a lot of work trying to get these boards straight and level, because the walls are so unlevel behind it. A lot of the time you'll have massive big bumps, and they just leave your walls completely out. So it's always a good idea, before you actually even mix your stuff up, to just go around the wall with a big level and just find your high spots. Find anywhere that's sitting really far out, and plan your first board according to that, you know. So like, if in the middle of this wall there was a massive big bump, I would know then either side of that bump I'm going to have to bring the plasterboard out so that I can keep the wall straight and level. If you don't do that, the plasterboard doesn't line up, you get big bumps. It's just an absolute nightmare. So I'm just going to show you me cutting the board here for anybody that's unsure how to do that. What I'll do is I'll take the measurement on the tape, hold the tape at the top of the board and pull, as you can see, like pull the tape along it, and use the skinny metal thing at the bottom of your tape to mark a line on the back of the board. That gives you a nice straight line if you can do it right. If you're a beginner, I would maybe suggest using a straight edge or something to cut along it, but I've been doing it that long now, I can just pull a straight line across with the tape measure like that. You can also use a knife. You can put the knife on and pull the knife across, and it's save you having to do the second step, because as you see, I'm now taking the knife and cutting along the mark that I made. I prefer to do it this way, because I find it not very difficult, but it is more awkward to put your knife in between the metal bit of your tape and your finger and then pull a straight line. I find it more difficult, so I just do it this way. And then once you've cut your board, you just lift it up off the wall, and behind where you've cut it, you just set your name and hit at the top, and the board will fold in half like you see, and then you just cut the other side of the board. That's the way I find the easiest to do it. Everybody's different, you know. There's people that mark maybe put three marks at the right measurement, and then put a straight edge across and cut it. So what we've done there, we're fitting that bit of board that we cut in, just to make sure that it was going to fit. And then we're going to take our dot and dab compound, and we're just going to apply it. At the bottom of this board there's a socket. So what we've done is we've cut the board till the right size from the ceiling till the socket, and then we're going to cut another piece with the socket actually cut out of it at the bottom. I find it easier to line up a smaller piece when you've cut the socket in than trying to line up the bigger bits with the socket cut into them. You see here what I'm doing with a level. That's what you basically do with the bit of wood, and we use the level to across the joint as well, just to make sure it's right. Now you can see here we're doing this chimney breast. We actually built a floating fireplace on this property. We haven't skimmed it yet, but that's basically the next video that I'll be doing is when it's skimmed. That'll be next week's video, hopefully. We've actually had a few videos from this house. We've been here from, I think we started with this property before Christmas, installing warm wall systems. So gyp frame, metal gyp frame, and metal gyp frame, and then insulated plasterboard over the top. We applied some tank and slurry. You see a previous video, you can see the head there that we've done. I'm going to make a video of us repairing. We actually stripped the damp course on this property, and you're going to see us repair the damp course as well. That's going to be another video from this property on the channel. So this is the last couple of bits. We're going to make sure that this bit fits okay, and then we're going to apply our dot and dab compound. So when you actually apply the dot and dab, it spreads out. So even though there is a small bit of space in between my dabs, once we set this in and we tap it in, that's going to make the dot and dab compound spread out behind the board, and it's going to close that gap along the top so that it's fireproof, and it will pass building regulations if it needs to. I'm not sure whether the building control need to have a look at this or not. It's up till the client to sort out. But we document everything, pictures before, during and after. yeah, so basically that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Check out all the social media. A shortened form of this will be on my TikTok. Thanks for watching, guys. Smash that like button. See you in the next video.